Hi guys, welcome back to the United Devils YouTube channel. It's Arjun here, and today I'm going to be doing the match reaction and player ratings for United's home defeat to Arsenal that happened yesterday. And it is a bitter pill to swallow, I have to say. It's a really disappointing result because not only was it a must-win game for the league table, because a win would have taken us above Arsenal, it would have put us in a very good position with a game in hand at home to Burnley to push for the top four early on in the campaign, but it's just a matter of getting out of this rut that we're in at Old Trafford. We obviously haven't won there in the league since last season. I believe it was the 5-2 win against Bournemouth. It's a really awful way to do so, because it was really just one mistake cost us, and the fact that Arsenal defended so deep out of possession meant that United really struggled to get numbers into the box, and when they did, the crossing or the balls in weren't good enough. It was just that lack of quality in the final third that really set us back. Obviously a couple of decisions didn't go our way. Can't rely on that all throughout, but obviously I thought maybe Gabriel should have been sent off. I thought Holding was lucky as well, and maybe at the end there was another penalty shout against Matic, who I thought did very well, almost being forced to play attacking football, which he's not really used to, but when he did pretty well, and I thought maybe he could have got a penalty. But you can't rely on that, because obviously United really weren't good enough yesterday. There was questions raised on every front: the board, the manager, the players, as there should be when there's something like this happens, when the season has really started in the league so far. But I'm going to try and be not as reactionary as I could be, because obviously there are some things that I think we need to factor in when it comes to this game. One thing I have been seeing is that it's Ollie's fault. Obviously, it was his 100th match as the United boss, I think as the permanent United boss, and it raised questions whether we actually progressed, and I think we have. But I think this is sort of an example of where things just didn't go well, and players just didn't turn up, and there's not really much he can do about that. I guess you could say the formation had to be changed. I think there were questions over why McTominay specifically was still on the pitch, and why Matic came on at just over half time for Fred instead of maybe Van der Beek or even Cavani. But these are questions that I guess I'll answer in the player ratings, and so we'll get onto that now. David De Gea, I just want to say the base rating is a 6 for me, because I think Manchester United players should always play just above average in every game. So David De Gea for me gets a 6.5, because while he had very little to do, everything he did do was good. He was composed in possession. He was composed and commanding of his box. A couple of miscommunications, but not his fault personally, I don't think. And I think he dealt well with everything he had to do with. Nothing he could do about the penalty. It was emphatic, and he got sent the wrong way. Wan-Bissaka is a 7, because I think he stopped a lot of the attacks down Arsenal left-hand side. But I think in a diamond he has to get forward more, which is something we obviously know he struggles at, and it's something that certainly lacked in his game yesterday, and so that's why he doesn't get anything higher. Lindelof, who was my man of the match, gets an 8, because he was faultless really. I don't remember him doing anything really wrong. Maybe he got spinned by Saka once, but recovered from it anyway. So I think he was fantastic. I think it shows that he's got the ability to kick on even when heads are low. He had an awful start to the campaign, and so hopefully he can keep this good run up. Harry Maguire gets a 6 for me. He's lucky not to get lower, because while he was good defensively, that's unquestionable. He was solid in pretty much every aspect in the defensive side. He missed 2 really clear chances to take the lead. Something we've been critical of for the last 18 months, however long he's been there. He gets in good positions for headers, but he doesn't make the most of it. and so it's only a 6 because he did just as much as should be expected as a defender, but he should have done much better in attack. Luke Shaw, again, was lucky not to get lower, but it was a 5 because for the most part he defended very solidly. I thought he was decent dealing with Willian, and he did have a lot of trouble with the overlap with Bellerin as well, but he was on set pieces for a few during the game, and certainly when Bruno came off, and he really underperformed. We saw what Telles can do, and obviously his unfortunate illness prevented him from competing so far. Reports are that he went in for a COVID test today and left straight after, so he might not be ready for Başakşehir, but maybe for Everton. But Luke Shaw's set pieces and crossing really didn't show me anything promising. I think it is a weakness in his game, and it's one that's going to persist, so I think this is where Telles comes in. But defending, he was pretty good. Obviously there was space on the right hand side, which is where the penalty came from, but I'm not sure too much of that can be blamed to him. Fred, I would have to say a 3. This is where it's going to get a lot lower because the defending was fine for the most part, but it's the midfield and attack that really lacked. Fred gets a 3 for me because he was really sloppy in his passing. He won the ball back a fair few times, and you can never fault him for that. He is great at doing that, but there were a few times where I thought, oh, maybe he could get a yellow card for these fouls, and then he kept fouling, and so Ollie was forced to bring him off pretty early on in the second half. And he'll need to wake up because he's going to be pressed and hounded by Everton on Sunday. McTominay, again, also gets a 3 for me. He was tasked with the right centre mid position in the diamond, and then the right central defensive midfielder in the 4-2-3-1, and in either he just didn't show much of what we needed in that game. I think the fact that Arsenal only had 2 midfielders and United had 4, which really didn't work as much as we would have hoped, as much as we certainly expected it to. It was disappointing, and McTominay was part of that disappointing formation, really, because we expected a lot more from it. He didn't really get forward. He was happy to just sit, and when he did get forward, there wasn't anything good on. He was wasteful with his passes, and I don't know how he kept his position really in the 11 during the game, because we were searching for a win, and how he stayed on and Bruno came off, I don't understand. Pogba was a 3 as well. He certainly wasn't the worst player on the pitch. There's a lot of the headlines are going to be on him, of course, because he gave away the penalty, and that's his fault. It's his error, of course, but he certainly wasn't the worst player there. He did try and make things happen, but it just wasn't working for him. He was really pocketed by Thomas Partey, who had a fantastic game. Let's not take any of the credit away from him. It was a fantastic performance. And he just didn't really show. I think maybe he won't start against Başakşehir. I think it will be a warning. I could see him also missing out against Everton, but we'll have to see. Bruno Fernandes is, I think he completes that midfield diamond. The midfield diamond didn't work, and so he gets a 3 as well. He was often frustrated with the lack of service from Fred and McTominay, and often came deep, and then it was rather infuriating because he was never really in a position to do something. His set pieces weren't great either, and that's a bit of a concern given the fact that he's our only real set piece taker. So he needs to work on that, but it's a bad day at the office for him. I do hope he kicks on. I do expect him to be rested midweek, and hopefully he can cause some problems for Everton on Sunday as well. Mason Greenwood gets a 4 for me because I thought he was probably quite bright in the first hour or so. I think he did enough on the counter to win a few yellow cards. I think he certainly did well enough to get past Gabriel and then get tripped up by him cynically for Gabriel to be sent off. And I thought he was very good, but at points, not consistently throughout. He didn't really cause Arsenal many problems in the box, even when he had chances in the box. and so he doesn't get a good performance. And they didn't score, they didn't really do much, so it's a 4 for Mason Greenwood, because while he did do some things good, it wasn't enough. And the same can be said for Rashford, who gets a 3 for me, because he was almost non-existent from big parts of the game. He really struggled to get involved, especially when we changed to a 4-2-3-1 where he was the main striker. He was not making too many runs because the balls weren't getting up to the attacking players. So it was just a really frustrating night for him after a brilliant one against Leipzig. So hopefully he'll kick on. I don't doubt he will, but it's just a matter of getting those goals through and getting the crucial points that United need. For the substitutes, Matic gets a 6.5 because I think he did above and beyond what he should have had to do. He was brought on to add a bit more composure in the midfield. He did that. He added a bit more steel in that central part where there were problems. And then he was asked to get forwards with 20 minutes to go after Aubameyang's penalty. And he did that well as well. I thought he could have earned a penalty himself, but VAR didn't see anything wrong with it, surprisingly. So 6.5 for me. Donny van de Beek, I thought he had an impact. He did actually cause Arsenal problems. His movement, his link-up play, he almost scored a freak goal, really, but wasn't to be. Deflections off, I think, Gabriel and Leno, and then the post, and it was very unlucky, but almost very fortunate. So a 7 for me, because I thought he did very well. And Cavani, it's difficult because I don't remember seeing him do anything. I don't think he's ready yet. I think he still looks a bit unfit. I do expect him to start on Wednesday, though, because I think he will he's obviously going to be a crucial part of the team at the moment. So I can see him starting, but I think he gets a not applicable 1 for me, because he just there wasn't enough of him on site, really. The manager is, of course, going to come under criticism after every drop points, and we knew that. We said that on the podcast. For me, it's a difficult one, because I think the diamond at the beginning was the right decision. I think the fact that McTominay struggled to really get into the game meant that he should have probably been taken off instead of Fred, who could have gone for a more advanced role, because we have seen him do that, whereas McTominay is very much either anchor or one of the deeper box-to-box midfielders, and so we've never really seen him be the one that's literally driving into the box to score goals or create chances. So it's difficult for me to not criticise Ollie for that. In fact, he has to be criticised for that. And I think taking off Bruno was a big call, but I think it was the wrong one. I think maybe you've got to be a bit ruthless, and I think he had to be ruthless with Pogba and take him off, because he didn't really show a lot during the game. He didn't show a lot when Bruno came off and Pogba was asked to go and do a more advanced midfield role, and he certainly didn't show that. A couple of decent crosses or fouls earned, but nothing special from Pogba. But I think this is just a bad day for United, and we've just got to bounce back. We've got 2 more games to the international breaks. They have to be won. United have to beat Başakşehir. They have to beat Everton. It's undeniable, and it just has to happen. And if it doesn't, there'll be bigger inquests. There'll be an international break where things have changed for United. They have dismissed managers at this point. They have raised questions over the managers at this point, and it will be a time for things to settle. So if United go into that break on a poor performance against Everton, drop points maybe against Başakşehir, then those questions will be louder. Those voices will be shouting for and calling for the players to be dropped, for Ollie to be sacked, for everything like that to happen in that brief 10 days. But we'll have to see. We have to hope that wins will return, and more importantly, wins will return to Old Trafford, which is remaining winless in the Premier League for, I think, now 6 games running. That's it from me. Thank you for watching, and please like this video and subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Twitter for all of our content. We'll of course be back for the preview for Başakşehir on Tuesday night.